Hi, I'm just going to give you a little insight into my feelings on piracy and computers and hacking. Um, the thing with hacking is that kids always want to know what their parents are up to and what their parents won't tell them. Yeah? So, you know, kids hack their parents. They try to find out secrets, they try to find out things, they look in the drawers, they kind of look through the cupboards. A little kid, I was a little kid, I used to know what my Christmas presents were before I was meant to get them. I knew where they were hidden. I'd actually had them out of the box and played with them before anything, and put them back and made it look like my parents didn't even know that I'd been in there. It's like, yeah, that's what hacking is. Hacking is being inquisitive, and kids are incredibly inquisitive. Um, the inquisitive nature goes down, I think, as you get older. But kids are incredibly inquisitive, and that's why kids make good hackers, and that's why you always notice that some of these hacking things, it's like young kids often getting the blame, and it probably is. It's just kids in university, doing stuff, learning about computers, and then deciding to go and have a little prank. They're investigating. They're just interested in what's out there, and it's not necessarily negative. They're not wanting to do something bad with it. They might want to have a joke with it, but it's not necessarily bad. Now, piracy. Okay, kids want things. They want toys. They want the latest music. They want the latest clothes. But the parents go, oh, well, we haven't got enough money for that, or you've had too much, or, you have to earn it, and this sort of stuff. And kids think, well, hey, maybe there's a way to hack my way around that. Maybe I can hack around that. And that's what piracy is. Piracy is a childish thing of wanting to, get something without having to pay for it, or without having to go through the normal motions. So you get it for nothing. And piracy is basically childish, but I bet we've all done it. I bet we were all pirates. And I think the trouble is with hacking and with piracy is that what you end up doing is you end up wanting to do things without going through the proper channels. And adults, of course, who haven't been brought up with computers, and a lot of our parents are still out there wondering what the hell computers are all about. They're all living in this world where they own things. They own the armies, and they own the banks, and they own the shops, and they own everything, And the kiddies who are growing up, they want things without having to go through the correct channels. And because they have the tools to do it, and their parents don't understand how to stop them doing it, this is what hacking and piracy is all about. So this is why the film companies are getting pissed off that, Daddy's gone out and made a movie, and it cost him, $17 million to make the movie with some big actors, and then he finds out that his son is pirating movies off the Pirate Bay because he wants to see them because Daddy wouldn't let him have some money to go out and see them with his friends that weekend. Yeah, or just because Johnny wanted to get the movie before it even came out in the cinema. This is just the funniest thing. It's just the funniest thing, but it could become the most desperately important thing as well, because I mean, as much as movies get hacked and television programs are downloaded freely on the internet, which is all good. I think it's nice to have a system where people can get access to old TV programs and things that they need to, archive and put things backwards so they can get them, in the future. I think that's good. Obviously, the TV moguls, they don't like this construct, and they say, well, you can't have a TV company giving away its programs. You can't have a film company giving away its content. There's a new paradigm, I think, is going to exist, and we started to see it with YouTube, and it's annoying, but we're going to get more of it, and I think this is actually going to be the future. is, okay, the videos and movies and music are all up on the internet, but certainly with television and movies, what they're going to do is probably say, okay, you can have the movies, you can have them free. We'll put them on the internet, high quality for you, 24/7, and you can have them free. You can have any movie you want free on the internet, high definition, 24/7. This is the future. It's there for you, and you just log in and you watch the movie free of charge. Yeah, but whilst you're watching the movie, in the corner of the screen, they're going to play advertising. That's what I reckon is going to be the future. So that's how we're going to get around this problem of people saying, oh, you can't have it, you can't have it, you can't have it. It's like, well, have it. You'll have it, you know. And the people who actually make the movies will be funded by the corporations. Corporations will actually start investing in movies because it'll be cheaper for them to release a movie that they've paid for themselves than it will be to get a movie house to make the company, a movie house to make the movie, sorry, and then for them to put their advert into the movie. So what they'll actually do is corporations will probably start making movies, and they'll actually have themes in the movies which actually promote their products, or product placement will be in the movie. So that's another thing for the future. But the big thing I think is the intellectual property that we must be careful about overstepping the mark with and allowing people to infringe our rights upon is things like weaponry, because once people start hacking weapons and once people start hacking automated weapon systems, which the hacker Matthew Bevan did actually say he found proof that there were automated launch systems which could be activated without a human command. If this is true, if those systems exist, and somebody thinks that it's going to be a good idea to top trump their mates by showing how they get access to these systems, if they do get access to these systems, and kiddies being kids have tantrums, maybe some kid is going to decide that he wants to send a couple of nuclear weapons over into somewhere where his friends that pissed him off live, and that could be the start of a nuclear war. Not necessarily a Terminator style Skynet artificial intelligence attack on the world, but maybe just some spoiled kid who's pissed off and upset with the world, and he's not going to get his hands on a handgun, he's not going to get his hands on a machine gun through the post, or maybe even learn how to build a grenade with some instructions he found on the internet. What he's going to do is he's going to say, well, hey, I'm really cool, I know how to hack into these systems, and I'm going to hack a nuclear weapon. And what one of these kids is going to do is probably going to say, that bastard who pissed me off last summer, and beat me up, I know where his family live, and they're out there in Las Vegas this summer, and they're on holiday, and I'm here in California, and him and his family are in Las Vegas, and I know how to nuke them, and I've got the access, and I'm going to nuke them. I think that's where the terrorist threat is going to come from. I think that's where your terrorism is going to happen. And I think the first nuclear weapon that's probably dropped on an American city would probably be either out of the mind of a child, like somebody like George Bush, a child, or actually out of the mind of a child. Just a little child that hasn't grown up and probably has far too much knowledge and inquisitiveness and gets on the net and does the most unspeakable thing possible because they don't understand. So, an interesting thought for you, and I thought I'd share that on YouTube. But when it happens, I imagine it's going to come from the mind of a child.